welcome back to the channel. This weekend we are exploring the vibrant city of London, the capital of England. In this video I'm going to introduce you to a long-time friend and fellow travel enthusiast. We'll have a Q&A session to share some of our favourite travel experiences. But first I'm going to take you to some exciting spots around London, including a visit to Wembley Stadium and a trip to Battersea Power Station. Stay tuned for an unforgettable adventure. Welcome to the middle of London, and we are joined today by my good friend, the captain of the ship, Paul.
Hi.
You sound very glad to be in London.
I'm hungover.
We are in the Battersea area. So I don't know what it is about me and late check-ins, but here we are again. It's 10:30 on a Friday night. We finally made it to where we're staying. I'm going to quickly show you the room. So there we have it, twin bedroom. It's pretty basic, but serve its purpose. We're just a little bit miffed with the room, to be honest, because we thought we were getting a whole apartment, but it looks like we're actually only getting a single twin bedroom within an apartment. The bathroom was spacious enough and had a large shower to walk into. So we have this little space for a bit of downtime over the weekend, but we thought we were getting an apartment, so that's a warning for everyone who's going travelling or everyone who's going on holiday. Just make sure you double check and read everything that you see. Whether you're booking through booking.com, Airbnb, Hostelworld, wherever, just make sure you're getting what you think you're getting. While I was waiting for Paul to arrive, I went to a lovely Greek restaurant round the corner where I got a tasty starter, main and drink for £20. Definitely recommended. Saturday in London was all about sport and a trip to Wembley Stadium. I grabbed my ticket for the Rugby League Challenge Cup final and the day of sport began. The final was between Wigan Warriors and Warrington Wolves, and Wembley was definitely a fitting venue for the final. So who's going to win today?
Wigan there.
Are you sure about that?
We're going to bash them. We're going to smash them all over the park.
Not even a close game?
No, it might be a close game. If we keep our discipline, we'll batter them. We're too good, and our bench is in a different league compared to theirs. So Wigan by 3 tries, conservatively.
Come on, Wigan. Looks like your pre-match prediction's doing good.
We're a league genius, what can I say? I predict they'll win the Grand Slam this year, all 4 trophies.
So there we have it, a win for Wigan and a trip back to Battersea to celebrate. On arrival at Battersea, we headed straight for the pub.
Mi amica. Yeah.
Amico.
Come on!
This is amazing. This is the lad from Wigan, Paul. The captain of the ship.
The captain of the ship.
And Carolina, Lena,
Yes.
and Riccardo, both from Italy.
Yeah.
2 legends who have given us a good night in Italy. In Italy? No, we're not in Italy.
From Rome and from Sardinia.
From Rome and Sardinia, in Battersea. It's a small world. Good morning and welcome to the Battersea area of London. This is the area that we stayed in, and I'm going to give you a tour of the area. As we turned into the main street in Battersea, we saw the famous Dogs and Cats home, dedicated to rescuing and caring for lost, abandoned and unwanted animals. A little further on, we arrived at the edge of the redeveloped Battersea Power Station area. The skyline gave rise to impressive modern high-rise buildings. As I walked through the path between the towering buildings, the trail curved round, revealing the stunning structure of Battersea Power Station. As you'll see, this part of the power station has been redeveloped into a shopping centre. Battersea Power Station is probably one of the most iconic recognisable landmarks of the London skyline. It was built in 2 phases, firstly in the 1930s, then in the 1950s. It was designed by Sir Giles Gilbert Scott, the man who also designed the famous red telephone box.
pretty impressive here, isn't it? I mean, I've come here super early, so there's not many people about. I'm just strolling around the shopping centre within Battersea Power Station.
In its day, the power station supplied about 1/5 of London's electricity, powering famous buildings such as Buckingham Palace and also the Houses of Parliament. Culturally, the station featured in famous films such as 1984 and The Dark Knight, but most of all, it is probably most recognisable from the Pink Floyd album Animals, where you see a pig flying across the power station. The station is right next to the River Thames, so there are great views of the river from just outside, and there is a viewpoint from one of the chimneys costing £17 and above.
I've got these nice deck chairs that you can sit on as well, and you've got a lovely view of the power station. This place is amazing, definitely worth a visit.
I admired the views for a few minutes, and then it was time to head back to the accommodation to check out and meet up with Paul again. We headed towards the East End of London, one of our favourite parts of the capital.
So how are you feeling about the result yesterday? Still buzzing?
Still buzzing.
One of the reasons why this area resonated with us was because of the abundance of skillful artwork and graffiti adorning the walls on nearly every corner.
So how have you found the place that you've been staying in the last 2 evenings? Good location?
The location was alright, near Battersea. It's a 10-minute walk from a tube station, which isn't ideal. The accommodation itself was basic but comfortable enough, would you agree?
Yeah, twin rooms, nice comfortable bed for a good night's sleep.
But I feel a bit misled by the advertisements. Apparently the guy lived there. We didn't see him, and there was at least a few different rooms there, wasn't there, for different hotel rooms. It was fine for the price. It was fine, but I just feel misled by the advertisements. So overall, happy.
So yeah, just make sure when you book your accommodation, whether you're booking through booking.com, Airbnb, anywhere else, just make sure that you read everything, that you're getting what you hope for. Something to learn from for the future, I guess.
We headed over towards Brick Lane and saw one of our favourite places to eat, Bagel Bake, open 24 hours a day and with massive queues outside at nearly all hours. Brick Lane dates back to the 16th century when it was a centre for brick and tile manufacturing. As you stroll down Brick Lane, you'll be captivated by the stunning street art, the perfect spot for photographers, or if you want to find your next Instagram upload. Brick Lane is known for its rich diversity of culinary options, from curry houses to street food market stalls on Sundays. Also, if you love shops, there are an array of vintage shops, record stores and quirky little boutiques. Feeling hungry, we ducked into an indoor food market on Brick Lane. The air was filled with the mouth-watering aromas of dishes from around the world, making it very hard to make a choice. Quick tip, make your decision fast or you might find yourself wandering around in circles. I finally decided on some delicious Venezuelan ham and cheese empanadas, while Paul opted for a classic German hot dog. After eating, we decided it was time for a change of scenery and made our way towards central London to explore Borough Market. Borough Market dates back more than 1,000 years and it is one of London's most famous markets. Despite my many visits to the city, this was my first visit here. The market is located near London Bridge and it is easily accessible from central London. First impressions? The food stalls looked amazing, but the market was incredibly crowded. We could barely move. After about half an hour of navigating through the throngs of people, we decided to call it quits and headed out. A pro tip for you, if you plan to visit Borough Market, I'd suggest going as early as you can to avoid the crowds. Next up, we wanted some downtime to recover from the crowds of Borough Market, so we headed to one of the oldest pubs in London nearby.
Next to one of the oldest pubs in London, welcome to the George Inn. this is one of the places you really want to come to.
Yeah, it's a gallery pub from the 16th century. It looks really nice, and Charles Dickens used to drink here.
So this is like an animal in its habitat. You very rarely see Paul without a pint. So he feels right at home. Where's the best place that you've travelled in London?
In London, the East End. Bethnal Green, I stayed there for a weekend a couple of years ago. Discovered Bagel Bake on Brick Lane, which is my favourite food place in London. We tried to go there earlier today, but the queue was unqueuable, so we knocked that on the head and moved on.
So it's quite an interesting story how me and Paul met. So we were in the jungle in the north of Thailand next to Chiang Mai and went on a guided tour with him. As you do when you meet fellow travellers, you have a good time, share where you've been travelling, where you're going next, etc. The tour was only for 2 days, but after that we went our separate ways, and as usual you meet really nice people when you go travelling, but unfortunately you don't always keep in touch. So I presume this was the case here, but
we bumped into each other in Chiang Mai, had a night out on Chinese New Year, sang Auld Lang Syne on a rooftop bar. Then we bumped into each other on a train station at 3 a.m. or something, about 1,000 miles south, waiting for our transfer to the ferry to Koh Tao. Legend has it that I had a pint in my hand on the train station. I'm not 100%. We figured out that we were both going to Koh Tao to go diving, and we exchanged contact details, met up on Koh Tao, and ended up travelling around the islands in the Gulf of Thailand for a week and a half or so. Went to the full moon party on Koh Phangan, explored Koh Samui, and just had the time of our lives basically.
And then after that I went and explored around Southeast Asia some more, while Paul went to Australia for a few months, and then he was getting a bit bored in Perth, so he got in touch with me and said, do you fancy coming to Cambodia? So where was I at the time? I was in Malaysia, and I said yeah, why not? So a couple of weeks after that we met up in Cambodia and went around Cambodia for the next few weeks.
So in Cambodia we met up in Siem Reap, which is where the legendary Angkor Wat temple complex is, in the jungle just outside of town.
And the legendary Angkor Wat beer.
Yeah, legendary Angkor Wat beer. We hired a tuk-tuk driver who took us to the temples every day for 2 or 3 days, I think. We spent the day exploring. It was one of the best travelling experiences I've ever had. Seeing temples that have been taken over by the jungle and then come back over 1,000 years old was amazing. I've got some amazing photos and memories.
Any bad travel experiences?
My worst travel experience was immediately after seeing Mike in Siem Reap, where I caught a 13-hour night bus to see an upfill to meet back up with Mike, and that journey took 21 hours, and I didn't sleep a sec, but I had a bit of fun because I sat at the side of the driver and drank a beer all the way to Phnom Penh, but I don't think I'll ever set foot on a coach ever again.
A coach anywhere or just in Cambodia?
Everywhere. I'm traumatised.
And here was me thinking that my 8-hour bus journey down to London was bad. Where's the best place that you've travelled?
My favourite place was Vietnam. I did 4 weeks in Vietnam at the same time as travelling around Southeast Asia with Mike. The food and the people and the scenery was just all incredible. But I also love Germany. Germany's my favourite European country. I've had a really good experience travelling around Ukraine in 2019. That was a fantastic place. I've recently been to Greece. Mike, where's the best place you visited?
too many to choose from. I used to say Malaysia was the best that I'd ever visited because the food, people are so friendly, so much natural beauty there. Of course you've got Malaysia on the peninsula that's attached to Thailand, some beautiful places there. You've got tea plantations, the Cameron Highlands, and then even better, you can take a short flight across from the peninsula to Borneo, and the natural beauty there and the wildlife is just out of this world. But generally speaking, I really like places with natural beauty, so New Zealand, Iceland, you really can't go wrong. That's an adventure in itself. But recently I went to Switzerland, and Switzerland just totally blew me away. What a place that is. Obviously you've got to factor in that it's an expensive place, and I have been accused of being a tight person from time to time, but even then you've got to make an exception sometimes, and that place is just absolutely outstanding. Forget about like your central places like Geneva or Zurich. You need to get out in the sticks and explore. Just go for a hike, go for a walk, and just take in and soak in the natural beauty. It's just unbelievable.
What's the worst travel experience that you've had?
Worst travel experience, probably the 8-hour bus journey that I took down here. But in terms of the worst place that I've ever been, again we're going back to the island of Borneo. So Borneo is split into 3 countries. There's 2 parts of Malaysia, in the middle is Brunei, and then on the bottom is Indonesia. So I did the top part, the 2 Malaysias, 1, 2, and then the middle Brunei, and that unfortunately was my least favourite place that I've travelled so far. I found it a bit boring, to be honest. There wasn't a great deal to do, not a lot of places to eat, go out, meet people. I was only there for a day, to be honest, but I think that was long enough for me. But something interesting, if you ever do end up there, if you travel by land, there is a border crossing where if you want to go from one part of Malaysia to the second part of Malaysia, you actually have to get off the bus 7 times because you cross the border 7 times. So at least you get a few passport stamps in there. So I guess that was maybe worthwhile there from my time spent in Brunei.
So what's on the agenda next for you travel-wise?
I'm not sure about next, but this year I want to do a bit of an epic train journey from Switzerland to Slovenia, to tick off Switzerland, Liechtenstein, Austria, Slovakia and Slovenia, which I've never visited, and that will box off Central Europe for me. I like my mountains. Vienna's been on my bucket list for a while, so I'm really looking forward to seeing it.
Scouted out any good beers over there?
No.
I'm sure it won't take you long to find one.
I think I'll be focusing more on the food where I'd like to try fondue over there. I've not done much research, to be honest, so I'll have to ask Mike for some recommendations. He's been to all of them countries, I think, so
I haven't been to Slovenia.
I'll take the recommendations for everything.
What's one lesson you've learned from your travels?
Say hello to people. It's just a way to meet locals, and actually experience the place as a person that lives there rather than as a tourist. What's the number one lesson you've learned from your travels?
Probably being sat here next to you right now, I'll probably say don't ever forget your driving licence if you're on a driving holiday with this guy here. We did a Baltics trip a few years back, and the plan was that we were going to drive through Latvia, Lithuania and Estonia, which they're quite fairly small countries, but to get from the bottom of Lithuania to the top of Estonia is at least a good 10-hour drive. And the person filming me right now was very angry and very hungover doing that drive, and he probably could have done with some assistance that day. So yeah, that was a very guilty day for me, and I've never ever been allowed to forget about it.
Yeah, I'll never let him forget about it. I spent 10 hours, I was basically tripping by the end of it. So I had to drive 10 hours from Vilnius to Tallinn. It took 10 hours. We were coming into Tallinn late at night on the most confusing road layout I've ever experienced, and I found it really, really hard to concentrate in this new city, and I will never, ever let Mike forget about it.
So that is it for a weekend in London. Had a nice time, seeing the all-time greatest rugby league team win.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for joining me.
See you on the next trip.
See you next time, San Marino. Watch your space.